Good day and welcome back to my channel. So this is the first in the series on the Soviet SU-152. And oops. So I got started on this, and then I realized just how quickly this build is actually going to go. So I want to stop, catch the first wave of where I am and what I'm doing before I really sort of get way ahead of myself. So this is the instruction guide, right? And we started with the instructions, and we started, basically from, I looked through, and basically I'm going to follow the order of instructions from Trumpeter. Just doing, putting these things together. They've got some notches you want to do. They're telling you to make holes. Don't forget to do that, because I did. So if you do forget to make holes, you have to go back and wing it. So don't. So you come down, make those two pieces, get those two pieces put together, put these together. And then you have this. Now here's a couple things about this. First of all, you have this part, and excuse the paint and everything, you have this part, which is a plastic part. And then you have this PE assembly, which is, a flat sheet that you then have to bend. And then these four little pieces you have to glue on. And then this last one. And they're from this fret, okay, and this is pretty thick, right? So it's pretty hefty. You can see, if I can get it to focus there for a sec, right? It's not thin. It's like a mil, maybe a little more thick, which means bending it ends up being a little bit of a chore, because what you have to do is you've got to curve this piece into an angle. And let me see here. It was in one of these pieces. And what this tells you is you have an option. You have an option to use the PE part, or you have an option to use the plastic part, which is this guy right here, WC28, right? So essentially you're going to make a PE fret version of this. Now, I missed that. I missed that there was a plastic option for putting this together. So I hacked my way through putting that on. And it looks like crap. I'm really not happy with it. So the back end of this thing is going to get some mud and gunk and dirt and beat up. So I'm going to beat up the back a little bit to kind of hide the fact that that's a mess. I've never done PE before. Well, okay, that's not fair. I have done PE before, and nothing that actually required any complex or complicated bending. So I had to try. I tried. It works okay, and it will work for what I'm doing. I'm not going to a model contest, and I'm not going to try and win a prize, but I tried it, which is what I'm doing with this kit, and the fact that I love it. So then we go ahead and we move on to the next one, right? And the next step. And again, like I said, don't forget to put your holes on, because if you do, then because this is another piece that needs the holes in. Now these guys, right? These guys are little tiny. All right, so you can see just how tiny these things are. They're on that sprue, and you can see that's how small they are. And I needed to use my tweezers to pick these up because my fat fingers was just sending them all over the place. And then so I started off with the drop of the cement, like I said, and just to sort of prep it right so they'll be nice and sticky. So here comes the fun part. Gotta pick one of these things up. Get ready, and here we go. Spring. I put it down and I drop it. Now where to go? Oh, well, there's these three. Oh, there it is. So I'll grab it. I'll pick it up now. That's what these things is like. It's pretty straightforward as long as you can get a hold of them. Little teeny tiny little buggers. And they are right. They go in right there. And in that clip, you saw that I was trying to pretty much put them on, and basically what I had to do was put a dot of this stuff a dot of the Model Master cement. I mean, I guess you'd probably use like testers or whatever, Revell. And then I end up using my tweezers to drop them in place. So these little guys are probably the smallest piece I've ever worked with on a model kit yet so far. And I did lose one. One went flying. And there are 8 that go on this deck. And there are 8 more because these are all on the WC. WC, is that what this is? WC? WA. These are all on the WA sprue. And those guys are, everything that's on here is duplicated. All 8 of these guys were on this. And here it is, right? And as you can see, I scarfed one. So I'm going to be short one. Now I looked ahead. There's 8 more that go on top of the casement for the main gun, and it's further on down here, which I haven't gotten to yet. So it's on that. I'll either make something up, or one will be bent or broken or whatever. So careful when you're doing those as go flying. Then I just went through here and did, you know, the back deck and the suspension, etc. You know, there's nothing really difficult about this. Just make sure you sand it, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. You get all that. This piece I actually put on just friction tight. These go on friction fit. You know, you're going to make 2 of them. Pay attention. The other piece that I wanted to talk about was that part has a hole on one side. You want to make sure it aligns, so when you're putting this together and you look at the way this is for how to put that together, you're doing it like this. You make sure that that hole you don't miss and not really pay attention and have this hole backwards, because it's important that this hole and this hole line up, because that goes there and then this slides into here. Now again, like I said, I have this friction fit because I want to leave the wheels and tracks off when I paint this, so I can do the weathering and everything and put the wheels and gear on later. But we'll get to that. And then I've gone through, did the front piece of the casement, the top part of the deck, these 2 hatches, and the engine covers, and then wheels. So I have these wheels put together, and here. Really tough. And so they're like 3 pieces each, and you make them all. And what I've done again is these will all go on. They're put together in a way that I can just friction fit them on. I may just put a bit of tacky glue on when I do the tracks, get all the tracks working, and then pull the whole thing off as one big assembly. But I have those 6 done. And then moving on, what's next is to do this wheel. So my goal, like I said, my plan here is to go ahead, get this all done up, and then do the wheels and tracks separately so I can take them apart, actually do the weathering and painting on this without the track and wheels in the way, and then go ahead back, just glue them on sort of right at the end, which is, you know, the way I'm seeing folks, you know, some of the more experienced guys who do these things, the way they're doing it. Overall, so far, this is really, really simple. Oh yeah, this piece here. I'm guessing, and they're, again, the expert builders who are probably far more familiar with this than I am, but this was clearly made with a hinge here so that you could have these hatches open. There's clearly nothing in there, so there's no reason to have the hatches open. This is actually made in a way you could do that as well. There's actually detail on the inside here and detail on the inside of this piece where you could have it open and it would look interesting, but there is nothing inside this cavity to fill that to make it work. So these 2 pieces I didn't need. I didn't bother. So I just glued those down, you know, in the right orientation, and that was that. I suspect that there's also a PE piece for this because there are vents, and you can see here, right? There's vents that you can actually see. underneath these. So I imagine that in some incarnation of this hull, which I believe is a KV1, because the SU-152 is built off the KV1 hull, I am guessing that there's a version that Trumpeter makes that has more detail. So if you're interested in that, do some research, see if that exists. Overall, the detail is pretty cool. I will have to go back, fill in some seams, do weld seams and things like that to make that look appropriate. I need to figure it. I've been looking for what's the word I'm looking for? I've been researching, there we go, for examples to tell me what that looks like, and I haven't found many yet. Not that I haven't found many, but I haven't found any there that show me what I'm looking for. But with that said, this is up to step 3. What's next is essentially those 12 wheels, the 2 sprocket wheels, and then the track. So I've got to do the idler wheel, which isn't, oh, yeah, so I guess I'm guessing the idler wheel is one of those, because I don't see another one of those anywhere, but we have 12 of these guys. So if I actually do math here, let's do math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so there's another wheel piece that I either haven't done yet or haven't found. So that'll be interesting. What this is for an idler wheel, which goes here, I think. See, this is the interesting part of this. So, all right, so the sprocket wheel goes there, and then an idler wheel goes back here. Oh, there we go. There we go. So interesting. Here we go. There's an interesting piece about this. The instructions, the way they're done, is the creating of the idler wheel. They call it out here when you're putting the track together, but the actual assembly of it is the next step. So anyway, back to my point. The next step is this, and then the doing of the tracks, which I'm actually kind of excited about because I've never done tracks like this. So it'll be a whole bunch of gluing 172 of these things, or 176 of these things, clipping them off, cleaning them up, and then polishing them. Like, I don't see any sink marks or anything there, so it'll just be making sure the the clipping of the sprue gates are clean, and then put these guys together and wrap them around. So I'm actually kind of excited about doing that. I've never done it before. And then we move on. But what I have found, and really what I'm looking at here, is detail-wise, this is going together really fast. So I just wanted to kind of stop, highlight where I am for this piece, and then I'll move on and I'll get into those and be back on my next video. So I hope this is at least interesting, entertaining, or useful. And until next time, happy modeling.